Hey guys, so today what I want to do is finally Cerakote my new AR15 build, and one of the things I want to do in this video is take you guys along for the ride. Basically what I want to do is show you guys the entire process as I Cerakote my rifle, just to not only be helpful but to be somewhat informative, especially for those of you guys out there who are possibly thinking about taking on your own do-it-yourself Cerakote job, whether it's for an AR15 or any other firearm. I did do a fair amount of research into Cerakote, and I'm pretty confident that I came up with a pretty decent cost-effective way of actually Cerakoting a rifle yourself. Those of you guys have been subscribed to my channel and been following along with my past videos are pretty much in the know and are all caught up on what's going on. If you maybe stumble across this video before seeing my last video, feel free to check out my last video. It'll kind of get you caught up on the whole process and how I'm going to go about Cerakoting my rifle. In that video I talk about the type of Cerakote I use. I talk about what color Cerakote. I also talk about how I plan on applying the Cerakote. I talk about the degreasers that I'm using as well as the whole degreasing process. So feel free to check out that video. It'll get you kind of caught up, so that way you're not watching this video and wondering what I'm using and why I'm using it in the certain manner that I am. So again, check that out. Those of you guys have been following along, like I said, you guys are pretty much in the know. Nothing has really changed. I've just been waiting for pretty decent weather in order to take my parts outside and Cerakote them out there. I didn't really want to do it in like the garage or something like that. So the weather's supposed to be really nice today. I want to go out, finish prepping some of my parts. I did do a little bit of prep work before making this video. Basically all I did was I took some relatively fine grit sandpaper and I sanded a few of the parts. Basically what I sanded was the buttstock and the pistol grip. The reason why I sanded only those parts is because I tried sanding the upper and lower receiver and it didn't really do much. Basically all I did was polish it. So I didn't really sand anything else. It was more hurting than it was helping. So I think the texture on the upper and lower receiver from the factory anodizing job is more than enough for the Cerakote to adhere to. I've read different forums and stuff where guys have said that they haven't sanded anything that has been anodized, like the upper and lower receiver and some rails, and they said that they haven't had issues with the Cerakote not adhering properly. So I'm not too worried about sanding these, but I did sand the pistol grip and the minimalist stock because the pistol grip is kind of smooth in a few areas. Basically all I did was I sanded up here on both sides. I sanded the top, I sanded all the corners, the bottom, and this front part here. Those of you guys that have a Magpul Maya grip, you guys know that the texture here is pretty rough, so I didn't really have to do anything there. There was more than enough texture there for the Cerakote to actually adhere to. The one thing I did a fairly decent amount of sanding on is the BattleLink minimalist stock. The reason why I did that is because the stock comes completely smooth from the factory. So what I did was I took the sandpaper and not only did I go back and forth, but I also kind of went in circles in order to again create a rough enough texture for that Cerakote to adhere to. Cerakote recommends sanding or bead blasting, so that way you can create some peaks and valleys for the Cerakote to settle into and adhere better to the product. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I roughed this up enough for that Cerakote to adhere right. One thing I'm not going to be Cerakoting is the rubber butt pad. This rubber butt pad is not easily removed. It's actually kind of molded into the stock. You'll notice there's no screws or anything in order to easily take this off. So what I'm going to have to do is actually mask this part when I'm Cerakoting in order to leave it black. The whole theme of the build is to have a flat dark earth build with black accents to get that flat dark earth and black two-tone look. So I'm going to be masking that off. As far as some of the other prep work that I'm going to be doing once I actually get out there, I'm going to go ahead and soak all the parts in acetone. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and spray them down with some brake clean to degrease them. I'm not going to be soaking the buttstock in acetone because of the rubber butt pad. Acetone actually breaks down rubber, so I don't want to ruin the rubber butt pad. Some rubbers are okay and not really affected by acetone, but I'm just not going to take the chance. So I'm only going to hit this with brake clean. I may wash it down first to get the particulates off it, then degrease it with the brake clean, but the buttstock will not be going in acetone. So One thing I want to do is put up on screen here an entire list of everything that I'm going to be using, as well as how much they cost. So feel free to pause the parts and price list here in order to get a decent understanding of what it is I'm going to be using. And if you want further details on what it is I'm using and how I plan on using them, again, feel free to check out my previous video. But for now, I think I'm all set. What I want to do is go outside, get all set up. I'll go ahead and hang the parts, shoot them with the brake clean, and then soak them in acetone. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you can see I'm all set up outside. What I wanted to do is just kind of show you guys the setup that I'm using. Basically all I'm using is a PVC pipe and 1x2 wood target stand that I use to go shooting with. And all I'm doing is using this to hold my parts or to hang my parts as I shoot them with Cerakote. Right now I'm getting ready to shoot them with brake clean. All I'm using is just old coat hangers, wire coat hangers to hang the parts. You can see I can easily turn them to access basically every side of the part in order to coat them evenly. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and set up the tripod. I'm going to try to film as much of it as I can. Like I said, I'm going to shoot the parts with brake clean right now, and then we'll go ahead and soak them in acetone. So stay tuned. So just got done shooting them with brake clean, and you can see they're drying really fast. They've been hanging here for probably about a minute or so, but you can see it's pretty much dried. All the grease has been removed. You can see the white film on them. That kind of shows you that all the grease has been taken off. But of course we're going to go ahead and degrease them a little bit further. Go ahead and put them in acetone. Alright guys, so I have all my parts soaking in acetone. You can see the acetone's starting to evaporate, so some of the parts are starting to stick out of the acetone there. They're not completely submerged anymore. But so far everything's going pretty smooth. It couldn't go any easier. I'm going to start prepping the Cerakote right now and getting it ready to go, put in the pre-val sprayer, and once these things are done soaking, I'll go ahead and hang them back up and shoot them with Cerakote. So stay tuned. So you can see I have the Cerakote already shaken up and poured into the pre-val sprayer. So what I'm going to do now is I have a piece of cardboard back there. I'm just going to go ahead and see how well it sprays. This should be a good test, especially for those of you guys out there that are curious at how well the nozzle sprays. So let's go ahead and give it a go. Works pretty good. So far I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, let's go ahead and start spraying some parts. Alright guys, so I just finished spraying all the parts. I have all of them hanging here except for the trigger guard. I got the trigger guard hanging off over the side there. But you can see they're all evenly coated, and surprisingly it went on very, very easily. The pre-val sprayer worked a lot better than I thought it was going to be, or thought it was going to work. So what I'm going to do now is let these hang here and dry for a little bit. Once they dry for a couple hours, I'm going to go ahead and take them off, let them dry for another week or so, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys the end result. So stay tuned and I'll show you guys the end result.